Hello, welcome to Brap Life. I appreciate you guys listening so very much, and I know that every single person who's featured on these interviews also appreciates it. It's so cool to be able to turn around and let these riders know how much their stories are inspiring other people. So please keep the messages coming. Keep letting me know. It's been really cool to get messages from people from other countries, and just knowing that these stories are inspiring people across the world. That's so cool. And so that kind of is what inspired this episode. In this episode, I'm talking to Radford Chugg. He is a rider out of the UK, and he is just getting into hard enduro. It's his first year, and he's doing pretty well. He rides expert class, and I actually got to meet him at TKO. So he's a very fun guy, big personality, and this was just so awesome to be able to branch out. And I never in a million years thought that I would be interviewing an expert rider from another country for this podcast. But he has a really unique story, and I really hope that you guys resonate with it a little bit, because I know there's a lot of people who get into the sport a little bit older, and sometimes we feel like maybe 20 is too old to be getting into this. I promise you it's not. But it's stories like this that really inspire people to keep going and keep pushing. And Radford has a really unique look on things. So please enjoy this episode, and I will see you guys next week.
All right. Well, welcome officially to Brap Life. I'm super stoked about this. So it was super cool to get to meet you at TKO, and you were just really fun and like super personable. You have like a big personality. So I thought it'd be cool to talk to you and kind of get your story.
Oh, thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to meet you as well in lovely sunny Tennessee. What a beautiful place that was.
Um, so go ahead and tell us kind of how you got started riding, and then kind of how you got into hard enduro, because it seems like that was kind of an interesting transition.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. I started off riding the trials bike. My dad sort of pushed me into trials a bit when I was younger. So I think I was on a bike by about the age of 3 years old. So I was almost riding the bike as soon as I could walk. And then, rode up to around the age of 16 on a trials bike. Got some good results. So I think my best result was sort of 11th in the country when I was 16. And then, just sort of trials is a bit slow. And at that sort of age at 16, you find girls, you find beer, and it all goes downhill. So from there, I stepped away, played rugby for a few years and played for like the local county and stuff like that, and loved rugby and beers and girls, and it sort of the riding got put back, and then ended up buying a race quad, ended up racing quads for 2 to 3 years. Being brought up in an activity centre, I was always around quads and bikes, and then I've decided to give quad racing a go, and from there did that 2 or 3 years, rode it sort of a bit of like the British level, enduro and motocross on the quads, and then it got expensive, very expensive. It seems they've got twice the amount of wheels, so they double the price on everything. I'm sure of it. So I got fed up of spending money racing quads, and got a trials bike again, which is, I have to admit, it's probably one of the cheapest motorsports out there and one of the most sort of skilled sports. So always loved trials, but got back into that, and then basically I won a bike on a raffle. So I never had any intention of riding hard enduro, never any intention of riding motocross. So I was just happy riding trials, and a friend of mine won a phone on this local raffle site. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna buy some tickets. Bought a ticket for a McLaren, a motocross bike, and something else, and ended up winning a Lee Ros Edition 2018 CRF 250. And didn't really want the bike. I was stoked to win it. I was so happy I won. But and I thought, I rode it once around the track. I built a bit of a track for the quad when I was training. Rode it around there. I was like, this isn't for me. I it's not like a quad bike. I couldn't ride it. I'm standard trials ride. I'm off the back. Couldn't really turn or go around corners. So yeah, I ended up trading that in for a Beta 300RR enduro bike, which I thought at some point I knew Johnny Walker, Billy, and other people, other lads that have rode trials. They've made the transition, and I always seen Erzberg once a video come up on my phone. And I was like, you know what? One day I'd love to do that. So I traded the bike in and paid a little bit extra. Got an enduro bike. I rode it once or twice. Didn't really get on with it. Left it in the shed dirty. And yeah, ended up making good friends with Dan Mandel and a few like UK riders, and they turn around and come up to my house practicing. And they're like, "Why don't you get the enduro bike out?" Got the bike out, and turned out I loved it. And yeah, and then I transitioned that again, which you're probably going to ask the question about the fun throttle, I imagine. So from that, yeah, I thought I'd beat you to it. So from there, riding the quads, I one day was out on the enduro bike and I had a spare fun throttle housing left in the cupboard. And I sort of looked and was like, I wonder if that would work. So I fitted it. I did an hour with the fun and an hour with the twist, and I was smoother, faster, more control, more comfortable, no arm pump, and just seemed to gel better with the fun throttle than I did the twist.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and that's the biggest thing is being comfortable, right? That's what my friends keep telling me. So
Exactly. Yeah, it's down to just set up, even having your handlebars slightly too far forward or too far back. It can affect you in a whole race. Just being comfortable and being in a good position just can make a world of difference.
yeah, I ride a full-size bike and I'm obviously not a very big person.
No.
So it's been a fight. My friends keep trying to tell me that I need to lower the bike because I'll be more comfortable on it. But I'm very stubborn and I don't want to do that. But I did a race this last weekend and it kind of kicked my butt. So I was like, well, maybe lowering it might not be the worst thing.
Yeah.
Because that was literally the thing I struggled with was putting my foot down to do switchbacks. And every time I tried to do that, I fell over. And so it was just wasted energy trying to get back up. So I think comfort is a big thing and it shouldn't matter what anybody else says about it. That's what I'm trying to get through my head now. So that really is helpful for me.
Yeah, no, definitely. I've definitely been judged and had many comments about the fun throttle. So yeah, I know exactly what it's like when people judge you for modifications on the bike.
Yeah, but it's really cool that you just do it anyway. So
I'm not too afraid to be different. I wear bright pink kit and I'm quite a loud person, but I just have fun. I just love racing, and just sometimes it can pay to be different. The fun throttle has got me noticed in a few areas, and you can hear people even riding some sections of the track. It's quite funny because I'll be riding up through a section, obviously with a bright pink kit, and there's fun gas, man. Especially Spain, places like that. It's fun gas, and there are people pointing, and I can hear them shouting, which is which is quite really cool feeling to be noticed.
Well, everybody knows you, so at least there's that.
True.
That's great. So what was the first race that you did on the enduro bike?
So the first race I did, a friend of mine, Jake Young, who's a super talented rider, he come from trials. He was riding extreme enduro he did a couple of years, done sort of some of the British and stuff, and he's going to hate me telling this story, but he convinced me, basically got me riding, and he's amazing at stoppies and wheelies and just good extreme rider. He's like, you should come do this local club extreme enduro race. So I was like, definitely, that sounds amazing. So I ended up going along with him, and it was, first ever race. We were like pretty nervous, and it was in a quarry, so there's some rocks and stuff. So just turned up and ended up going for it. He sort of pulled off from the start line because he convinced me. I'm sure I should have gone a novice on Clubman, and he's like, no, straight to expert. So listened to
Oh my
him,
gosh.
racing against him. I ended up catching him up, and we sat at a hard section, and we're looking at each other like, this is so much fun. And he's like just beside me, like, yeah, I know. And then ended up we like looking at each other, and then we quickly shoot off, battling through some rocks. And in the end, I just beat him. And yeah, it was my first ever race. And to beat him after he'd been riding for a couple of years, it was, yeah, I'm so stoked. It was an amazing feeling. It was sort
And
of
he
from
was probably
then.
like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's sort of from then, his encouragement, and yeah, a few people just sort of convinced me to give it a bit of a go and give it a bit of a push.
Yeah. And so you just loved it. What is it about the extreme enduro that you liked better than anything else? Is it just like the challenge or?
Yeah, I love the challenge. Personally, I've had a lot of people. Yeah, my dad hit the nail on the head, sort of thing. You're basically taking a bike over terrain that no bike should go across. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
The stuff we ride over you shouldn't be doing on a bike. Obviously, as you see in Romania and stuff, there was people hanging from ropes with hard hat and harnesses and helmets and stuff, and we're taking 100, 200 kilo bikes up these cliff ledges, and it's just like, why are we doing this? But the actual thrill and the battle of it's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty intense. I mean, I haven't actually ridden like hard enduro in a race or anything. I've done some, like I'm starting to get into that sort of riding.
Yeah.
But it's always you against the terrain, and it's really cool. For me, it's really confidence building, and it's
Yes.
super fun to just like be like look back and be like, oh yeah, I made it through that. That's pretty awesome. And then show pictures to people and they're like, you did that on a bike? Like, what? So
Yeah.
that's what I like about it.
Oh, awesome. The other good thing with it is the whole discipline of mind over matter. It's made me, especially definitely Romania was the biggest eye opener. I would say I'm quite a strong minded person and got a good bit of grit, but I've never been tested like I did in Romania. It was extreme races like in the UK after starting to do the World Series. They're a bit easier, but they're only around 3 hours long, 3 to 4 hour races. So to then go from that to the longer races, the discipline and the mind control and the games, and yeah, it makes it was a good challenge, and I enjoyed overcoming that as well.
Yeah, that's a big thing with hard enduro riders that I've talked to is trying to master that mindset and really stay positive when you're struggling through something. I had something happen a couple weeks back on the trail, and I got stuck in a section where I was basically trying to go back up a mountain. And again,
Yeah.
short legs, can't really touch. So I ended up having to push my bike most of the way up. It was in first gear, so it was like motor assist, but I still had to push it because I don't have the balance yet to be able to like ride it up. There was zero traction.
Yeah.
It was all sand and rocks, and it was just way out of my element. And then I ended up pushing, and it ended up being like, it was like a mile and a half for us, of just pushing straight up. Like, and
Oh,
it
wow.
was a lot. And I just kept telling myself, I was like, I do hard things for fun. I do hard things for fun. And it's just like, just I wanted to quit for a little bit, and I just like stopped. I like took a deep breath, and I was like, okay, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna try to call somebody right now. It's gonna be like another hour before anybody even gets out here because they gotta come and find me. And like my friend was at the top, and I was calling her. She couldn't even find me, and she was only supposedly like a mile away. So
Oh, no.
I was like lost.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was just like, all right. And then I'm going to admit defeat. And then what am I going to feel like after that? So
Yeah.
I kind of like put my head down, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to do this. I was like, I want to do hard enduro, and there's no better training than doing really hard stuff
So
like
true.
this. So
uh, as my brother always said, he said that probably the best possible training you could do is just turn your engine off and just push your bike round a wood. He's like, that's basically, he doesn't understand the whole concept, but he's like, you're basically just pushing your bike. To train, just leave the engine off and push your bike round, which would be beneficial, I can imagine. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's I don't understand. It's a weird mindset to enjoy being stuck and enjoy pushing and the whole, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, it's just so enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
think there's
strange, isn't
something
it?
about people who ride hard enduro. All of us are the same kind of crazy.
Yes, yeah, definitely crazy.
So, with Romania, it being so long, I mean, is it like you take each day and just kind of section it out, or does it like start to wear on you with having so much racing at one time?
It was definitely the longest race I ever done. I think one of the days I clocked, I think I did just over 10 hours. So from getting on the bike at the
Jeez.
start in the morning, from there to the end of the day, getting into the paddock, I was on the bike for, just over 10 hours. And yeah, it was, that was day 3. And that was the closest I've ever come to quitting basically, but I wasn't going to. I came close. It
What
was
kept you
enjoyable.
going, if you
Hmm?
don't mind sharing? I said, what kept you going, if you don't mind sharing? Like, how did you push through?
just just determination. I've just wanted to finish. It's my first year doing it. I felt like I'm not a quitter. I came there to finish.
Yeah.
Same as I do every race. I just wanted to try and do the best I can and just kept grunting on. As well as that, another little trick. I listen to music.
Oh, okay.
So as I'm riding in my helmet, I've basically built-in headphones.
Uh-huh.
So I even had to get 2 sets because the battery went flat in the middle of the day. So in my service, one of the most important things was fueling the bike and changing my headphones. Um, So yeah, that's just singing along. I think even there's a few videos of me in Erzberg going through Carl's Diner, and I think you can hear me singing Shakira as I'm riding. I'm singing at the top of my voice Shakira, and just you're going past Broken Men, and I just keep smiling, keep plodding, no matter how much pain you're in or how tired you are. Music's just I find it great and a big help. And then, after day 3, when I felt like a broken man, I'd come into the service area, and me being a privateer, I'd come in after 10 hours. I basically slid off the
Mhm.
side of the bike. I then had to wash the bike. I had to do an oil change. I had to change my own tires and mousses. A few
Mhm.
of them that has been good, like Captain Adventures, and a few people have stepped in and helped me a bit with the servicing and stuff. But after a long day, changing your own tires and oil, and it does take it out of you. And then
Mhm.
going into the final day, I had to change the whole playlist after listening for 4 days to the same playlist, the same songs on the same loop for like 8 to 10 hours a day. I had to change it up on the final day to some happy motivational playlist to get me over that finish
Yeah.
line. But yeah, I've did it.
That's that's awesome. I thought I was the only one who listened to music while I ride.
Oh, you do as well.
Every
Amazing.
Yeah, everybody tells me that I'm crazy for it because 'cause they're like, "That's so distracting," and I'm like, "No, for me, it's, like, really relaxing, and it helps me just, like, stay in a good mindset and just,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
not like, it helps me, like, especially I'm still a pretty new rider, so I get visually intimidated a lot, and for whatever
Yes.
reason, when I have the music, I can just, like I'm like, "Okay, alright, it's not a big deal," and just, like,
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
going.
Yeah, exactly. You do overcome it. And I find the more
Mhm.
hectic the song, the faster and more aggressive I ride. So I have to try and pick some mellow music because I can get carried away quite easy. But yeah, like you said, it does. It's surprising how it can change your mindset, especially like you said, looking
Mhm.
at an obstacle or a section coming up. You just go into it with a much happier mindset normally.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you said that about, like, what you listen to because I do running as well. I'm training for an ultra marathon right now.
No way.
Um, Yeah, I'm doing a 50K race in a couple weeks. So,
Amazing.
um, but I have a specific playlist for that because during that I have to push really hard and like,
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of mileage, I guess. And so that's a little bit of a different playlist. I've noticed when I put that same running playlist on when I'm riding, it's like you said, I tend to go a little faster and it's a little more aggressive. And I'm like, okay, I'm not that good of a rider. I need to like rein it back a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. It can. Yeah. It can affect it. The only time I had an issue with it, with the music, I'll admit, is Tennessee. When I
Yeah.
first I rented the gas off
Mhm.
Radford Motorsport, and riding a beta, there's a lot of vibrations and feel. And
Mhm.
obviously riding a bike for so long with the headphones, I could be completely deaf and I can feel the engine, the power of the bike. So on day
Yeah.
one, I put the music on when I rode the gas, and I didn't know the engine, I didn't know the feeling, and I had a terrible ride on day one, and it turns out I thought there was an issue with the clutch. I was blaming the bike, trying to work out what it is. I went practicing and pressed pause on the headphones, and I could ride
Uh-huh.
again. There's nothing wrong with the clutch, and so I think to do the music thing, you have to really be at one with the bike, and
Mhm.
get comfortable with the bike and the feel before you
Yeah.
start throwing too much noise in there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I did it when I had my TTR and then I switched to this new bike, the Husqvarna, and I did not listen to music for like that first couple months and
Yeah.
then well, then I moved and I started riding alone. So I was like I'm not talking to anybody like, when I stop or anything too. So that was kind of part of it is like being alone and trying to figure out how to get through and motivate myself and everything. So, but yeah, it was a little bit of a learning curve with the bike and then trying to figure it out. Like you said, the vibration and just kind of feeling
Yeah.
it and getting to know it. I guess I didn't really think about that being the reason I didn't listen to music for such a long time. But
Yeah.
yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah. No, I was very surprised at that also.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's
So
good.
what was your experience like coming? Was it your first time coming to the States?
I've been to the States when I was younger. I think I was about 12 or 13 to, I
Okay.
think it was Florida or somewhere like that. But coming over as an adult, being able to remember it, I can't remember a lot from a child. So, but yeah, coming out, it's incredible. Fell in love with it out there. I could happily move there. Everything's just bigger and better.
Yeah.
Just everything's done bigger and better. And the weather was amazing. It was a little bit too hot for me, but yeah, no, it was good. Really enjoyed it, and the
Yeah.
people. It blew me away how friendly the people are as well. Just everywhere we went,
Yeah.
just everyone was so kind and friendly. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, here in Tennessee. So I'm not from here. But I happen to be here for work right now. So it just all worked out that I was able to come to TKO and everything.
Amazing.
Um, yeah, so I was super stoked about that, but it's the same. Like I've experienced the same thing since being here. I got here like not even 2 weeks before TKO, and it was just everybody's so nice down here, and everybody's so welcoming,
Yeah.
and and then on top of that, the hard enduro community here in the States. I don't know about over there because I've never been over there. But here in the States, it's like a big family and like everybody takes care of everybody. So everybody's always like checking in with people and like I haven't seen some of these people in like a month and a half now. And it's weird. It feels like I miss my family because I'm used to
Yeah.
seeing them all the time.
Yeah, I definitely see that in the paddock and downtown
Yeah.
Nashville and stuff where we're all parked up. It was everyone was so friendly and everyone was talking and getting along. It's a little
Yeah.
similar in the UK. It's a bit of a smaller sport in the UK. It's not quite as popular, but people do sort of talk, and it is. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's quite as friendly as it is in America. But yeah, when I was out there as well, we were in downtown Nashville, and I was parked at the end with a bike. And I've never met Cody Webb, and he ended up walking all the way up the whole end of the paddock to the other end of the street, and he come up, shook my hand, and he's just like, where are you from? What is your story? And I was like, just for him, who, yeah, I think is an incredible bloke and such a talented rider, just to take time out just to come over and just sort of speak to me about it, and my background, and that was kind of cool to see how friendly people are, and for him to come up and do that, it meant a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing you in Nashville, and I think you were wearing a cowboy hat, and I was like, "Who
Yes.
is that?" And I didn't, because like I don't know everybody from overseas, and I was just like, "Who is that guy?" And then I saw you riding, and I was like, "Dude, who is that guy?" Like, because you're good, and I was like, "Why don't I know who this is?" So it was cool, and then to be able to talk to you when we were down at the Trials Training Center was really
Yeah.
cool, because I'd been watching you ride, and I thought it was really awesome. So
Oh, thank you so much.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I ended up. I thought, down in Nashville, you have to buy cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. It felt like the right thing to do. We partly did it
You fit
because.
in very well.
Thank you. We partly did it as well. Me, Chris, and Sally Brightmore, we were waiting for the boys to fly in from Brazil. So we thought
Yeah.
we'd get cowboy boots and cowboy hats and embarrass them at the airport. So we thought we'd rock up at the airport in Atlanta fully cowboyed up just to embarrass them, and it worked perfectly. Yeah, no.
That's great.
I don't know how often I'll be wearing the cowboy boots, but they'll definitely, I'll have them out in the UK at some point.
That'd be awesome. I used to have a pair. They get a little expensive depending on what kind you buy.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was very surprised.
But they're comfortable.
Yes,
So.
yeah, that as well. They're a bit too warm though. I found Tennessee very hot. They're not the most breathable shoes, I must admit.
Yeah, that's true. You would like Tennessee right now. It's about 15 degrees cooler than it was when you were
Oh,
here.
really?
So yeah,
Sounds
it's
like
gorgeous
perfect
right now.
temperature.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it is. And it'll stay very similar to this for the next couple months. And it won't get super, super cold down here. Like, it doesn't snow down here. So and I like it down here so far.
Yeah, I could imagine.
I was up north last winter, and it was very, very cold. So
Yeah,
I don't like that so much.
no, I could imagine. Nice. Well, it's much better than the UK. It seems to rain here every day. Just more rain, more rain. Yeah, it's nice to go racing abroad. It just, it makes me
Yeah.
happy. Just every time I go to a different country, if it's a sunny, warm country, everyone's just happier. You come back to the UK, everyone's just miserable and wet and moaning, and yeah.
So what's your favorite place that you've been to so far this year?
Uh, it's a hard one. I would say I love Romania. Just that blew me away. I was lucky enough, obviously, to do all the rounds so far. So Austria I liked, but it's sort of I don't know. There was something about Romania and Serbia that I just preferred. I don't know if it's the actual racing or just the people, or it's just a beautiful country. And especially Serbia, I love to travel and love to see different parts of the world, but I never ever thought of going to Serbia. It's not a holiday destination I've ever heard of, or anything like that. So that was an eye opener. And I was so impressed. What a beautiful country and beautiful people.
Yeah, definitely. And you're going to see the sky, right?
Yes. So I've dropped the bike off to be transported there. So I'm excited for that. I haven't really. I've seen the odd video come up now of the Sea to Sky, but I haven't really watched any videos of the terrain or the track. So
So you're going in blind.
a little bit, but I've done the same with all the rounds. Being my first year, I probably should have watched some. I don't really watch much YouTube, So
Yeah.
I'm always sort of working on my bike or riding. So it's not often I get much downtime to sort of watch YouTube or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I've gone in blind to pretty much all the races, I think. So I thought there's no point changing. There's no point changing now.
It's
So
working so far. Yeah.
well, yeah, maybe. So it'll be good. Yeah, hopefully it's going to be the temperature. That's going to be
Yeah.
the hardest part. It was the same in Serbia. I think it's going to be around the same sort of temperature, like 35, 36 degrees.
Okay.
It's, yeah, just being from the UK, you're just not climatized to that sort of temperature or conditions. So it takes
Is
some
it
getting used
is
to.
yeah, is it that way the whole way up though? Doesn't it get cooler as you go up on the mountain?
Apparently so. So I heard someone tell me at a race the other day. They said you need to take a jacket, and I was like,
Yeah.
why would you ever need a jacket at 35 degrees? And they said at the bottom of the mountain it'll be 35 degrees, and then you get to the
Yeah.
top and there'll be snow. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into that a bit further, I think, and maybe get a jacket ready.
Always better to be prepared. You might not
It's-
need it, but
exactly. But no, I'm very much looking forward to this race, and it's
that's so cool.
from the videos and the bits I have seen, it does look very rocky,
Mhm.
and yeah, quite hard terrain, which I think suits me better from the trials background. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm looking forward to riding that.
that would
That
be so cool. That's one of my favorite ones to watch. So
yeah.
I'm
Oh, awesome.
super stoked.
Oh, awesome. And then I think, yeah, the last round after that is Espano, which is also, yeah, looks
Yeah.
fairly rocky and like a hard venue. So that was
Hmm.
one thing I found with Tennessee. I would say out of all the rounds, it was terrain wise one of the slightly easier ones, and it was quite a fast paced race, which
Yep.
didn't really suit my riding style much, but I
Yeah.
still loved it. So I'm quite looking forward to going into Sea to Sky with a few more rocks and hopefully being a bit more harder terrain where hopefully I can pick some places off, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, usually TKO is rainy, and so
Yes.
the rocks are a lot more slick. So you guys kind of had it easy this year, is what I was
Yes.
told.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do it, but
No, that's what I heard as well. And I also heard sometimes it will get that hot, the rocks will actually sweat and get slippery also.
Mhm.
So I think we were
Yeah,
sort of in between. We had the perfect temperature, and I think
yeah,
that's what made it a little bit easier. I almost hoped
yep,
it would have rained. I think if it would have
yeah,
rained, I potentially would have gained some positions, but then with the knockout stages, that really didn't help. I think the third round, where you go in a group of five, I think I had Mitch
yeah.
Brightmore, Manny, Moret, and James Flynn. So and it's the top
Mhm.
three go through. So there really wasn't much hope for me there, unfortunately. But it was still cool to then be able to, like, that final round, go out and watch and support the UK riders, Mitch and Ash, and cheer them on
Yeah,
and watch them race as well.
yeah.
It's a cool
That's
setup.
so cool. Yeah, I loved it. It was so much fun. It was actually my first year going to TKO in person, so
Yeah.
um it was pretty awesome. I have been following the World Series for I don't know, like 10 years or so. I've been watching it, but I didn't know that the US had a series until this year. So
Oh, no way.
I was like, I could have been going to Hard Enduros this whole time. So,
Oh, so you'll be at a lot
yeah,
more
so
events then.
yeah, so I started going to events in April. So it's only been a few months that I've really kind of been around it in person. But it's been a really big learning experience for me. And I've really gotten to see a lot of different stuff that, like I said, it's what I want to do and what I want to go into once I can figure out how to ride my bike normally. And then um, that's the next step. But it's been cool to kind of see it. I just kind of look at it as like research. Like I'm just trying to see what I'm
Yeah.
getting myself into. So
Yeah, it's always good, and you'll find the more you get into the sport and the more you watch,
mhm.
you'll pick up tricks and learn stuff from riders just by like visually watching. It's
Yeah.
that's a massive part now of like each event I'm doing. I'm learning so
Yeah.
much from a faster rider overtaking me, or watching a video that comes up of Manny or Billy or someone riding. You sort of like you see their body position and you notice stuff you never would have noticed before. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah, it
surprising.
was really cool. One of the pro riders from here, I was standing next to him during the races in Nashville, and he was telling me like stuff, and he's like, "Well, watch how this guy holds his body when he goes over this obstacle, and watch his feet over this obstacle," and because he and I are friends, and it was really cool that he was telling me that because that's not stuff that I ever really thought to like dial into.
I know exactly.
And so I was really watching it. I was like, okay, all right, I see a difference in it. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I love about the community is that even people like I'm like I said a beginner and he's a pro, he didn't need to sit there and talk to me. He didn't need to give me that, he didn't need to point that out to me, but he did just because he wants to be helpful. Cuz
Yeah.
at least everyone that I've met has been so helpful in talking to me about what I could do for my bike or things that I can do to help improve, whether it's static balance or trials bike or different things like that, and just giving me advice because I didn't grow up around this stuff. I've only been around it for a couple years, so I don't know what I don't know, so I always take advice.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think no matter what level you get to, you like, always take advice from anyone who's willing to give it. I
Yeah.
think you're never too good to take advice.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm learning. And just like you said, yeah, people are so friendly in the sport. Me being my first year, I didn't really know anyone. I've just threw myself into the deep end a little bit this year, going straight into the World Series. But everyone's just been so friendly and welcoming, and just yeah, it's just nice to have everyone give you the time of day and just go around the paddock speaking to riders. Some of the riders I never even knew, which I should have heard of because they're some of the world's best riders. But because I'm new to the sport and never thought about pursuing it or never followed it, I've just jumped
Yeah.
in and done it. I've then learned who these people are, and then just to be welcomed and yeah, get on with these people. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's the
I've still,
best. It's
I've
the
still got a little case of like imposter syndrome. I've especially on the start line, when I look down the start line and you can see Red Bull helmets and all these top riders that you've seen videos of, and all these like super cool people, and you're like, what am I doing here? I'm just a fat plumber from the UK. I was like, I shouldn't be here. I should be at home plumbing. And just to go out it with them, it's such a cool experience, and it's just an awesome way to see the world as well. Like going across the
yeah.
mountains in Romania, at one point I actually stopped, turned my bike off, and I had to get my phone out my rucksack or out my U-Sway just to film the mountain ranges. It was so stunning and so beautiful and such a surreal moment for me. I didn't matter what
Yeah.
position I was in the race, I wasn't missing out on getting a video of that moment in my life. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that's awesome to be able to have moments like that. It really, I mean, it's easy to get lost in being competitive, um,
yeah,
especially at your level. But it's really cool. I love when top riders talk about like how they keep their passion or like how they take advantage of those small moments, like you said. That's really, really cool.
yeah. Biggest part of the race, and I think it's the journey. It's how you get
Yeah.
there, the journey, everything about the whole race. It's just yeah, absolutely incredible. Just
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably
So
been the best year of my life. I've loved every minute of it.
So when you got more into like the hard enduro side of racing, did you change anything that you were doing like fitness or nutrition wise from like when you were doing trials and stuff before? Because it seems like that would be a lot more expenditure for calories when you're doing hard enduro versus trials. I don't know because I don't do trials, but
Yes, yeah. So it's hard enduro. Like I said, I've done trials, quad racing, rugby. It's definitely one of the I can see why they call it hard enduro and like the world's hardest races, because it does take its toll on your body. Especially Romania, Serbia especially, and it's going to be the same in Turkey with the temperatures. You've got to take in
Yeah.
like the carbohydrates, fluids, body salts, sodium levels. It's surprising how much is just what you put in your body is as important as the fuel in the bike.
Yeah.
It's been an eye opener to learn all this, as well as the riding and the control.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that does play a massive part. Fitness wise, from trials, you didn't really have to do a massive amount. I didn't see a massive benefit in trials. And obviously, with the sort of, you do a section, you walk a next section. It's very slow. It's short bursts. Where obviously, extreme enduro, hard enduro, it's just continuous, just brutal and consistent. So I found, I do a lot of fitness. I tend to get up at sort of 5:30 in the morning. I do go to the gym 6 till 7. And then I have a little pond at home. I sit in the pond in the cold water every morning just to relax my body and stop my body aching. And just, it's also, I found with the cold water therapy and the cold water dipping, it's a good way to control your mind.
Yeah.
And overcome mind over matter, which I think that has helped me with a lot of these like races, especially Romania and stuff, where you're broken and you don't think you can go on. Just I think having the strength in your mind, I do really think the cold water maybe would have helped that a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know for definite, but I enjoy it. It's got addictive, and I love putting my body through the pain, and love doing it. So.
I've done like a cold plunge thing one time, and it is a lot. I don't know how you do it every day, but yeah, I mean that determination to hold yourself in the water and like not go running out screaming, like that was what I was trying to do. I was like, oh my God, mine was controlled. Mine was like in a bath, like in a place. So I got out and it was nice and warm, but like you're outside. So have you been doing that for a long time, or is that pretty new?
A year, 2 years.
So you did it in the cold?
Yeah, so all through the winter. I started doing it when I started racing. So I started racing properly, like hard enduro, probably probably almost a year ago now. So it was just coming into winter.
Yeah.
And there was snow on the ground. At one point, there was snow on the ground and a bit of ice in the pond, and straight in, sat in now. I must admit, there's morning still now. I sit in my warm van after going to the gym. It's raining or hailing, and it's cold. And I sit in there staring at the pond in the dark some mornings because it's still not light, with the lights of the van on the pond. And I sit there, why am I doing this? Why? Just don't just go to work. Just trying to think of every excuse. And it's I have that battle sometimes for 15 minutes I'll sit there staring at the pond, trying to
But
get the motivation.
you still do it. And that's the
Yeah,
important thing. And
exactly.
that's something that I absolutely love, because like I just had a moment a couple weeks ago where I was like, I'm, like I said, I'm training for this run. And so I was like, all right, I'm supposed to do 10 miles today. I was tired. I had every excuse. And I was like, I don't want to do this today. Like, I don't want to. And my friend was like, I think you should go running. He's like, you should just maybe do like a mile. And I was like, okay, I'll go do a mile. Cause a mile, that's like 7 minutes, right? So
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I'll go do a mile. And then I got out there and I was like, okay, maybe I'll just do 5. Cause I could do that in like a half an hour. Okay, 5 miles. That's it. I'm just going to push myself just a little bit and I'll go home and take a nap. And then I started running and I was like, I'm doing 10. I'm going to do the 10. And I just did the 10. So
incredible.
it's hard. It's hard to push yourself like that, but it is a lot of determination, and you really have to have a strong mindset to push to do things that you really don't want to do. But
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that translates to like other parts of life too, right? Like, I mean,
100%.
how many times do you do that to go to work?
Most people, yeah, every day. Every day.
I'd
Yeah.
rather just go and ride my bike, but I have to go into work today. I have to make money so I can afford parts. Like, yeah,
True.
all right, I gotta do this. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of what you're really, like you said, motivated to do, what you're inspired to do. Um, I don't really like the word motivation a whole lot, because motivation to me is very fleeting. And like
Yeah.
you could be motivated to do something for like 5 minutes and then you're like, nah, I don't want to. But inspiring, you're inspired, you'd be inspired for a long while. And like all of these conversations that I have with people, I take something away from every single conversation. And the mindset thing is the biggest thing for me. Like that's what inspires me. It gets me going, knowing that other people have this fight that they do in their head and they win it all the time. Like that's so cool to me. Like,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Awesome to know that other people are so strong like that. It just makes me want to stay strong too. So
Yeah. I'd love to know with the other riders, like the top 3 or top 5 riders, how even to this day, for them doing it for years, obviously Manny and all of them, they've raced for years and years. If it gets easier, if the mindset gets easier, or whether the races are easier, whether they go. Me being my first year, I sort of have a lot of questions like, is this painful? Should I be struggling this much? Should it be so hard? Should I want to quit like this? I then think, I was like, well, Manny he can't feel like this. He can't think like this. And it makes you wonder, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they feel and their
but
thoughts.
I think they were doing it a lot younger though, right? Like Manny's been doing this since he was like, what, 14, 15, something
Yes,
like
and
that?
I was baffled. He's only 26.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. He looks, I'd say he looks a lot older, but
Yeah.
so,
I always think that Manny's older because, like I said, I've been watching Hard Enduro for a long time, and I remember watching Erzberg, and he was, one of the people they're talking about because of his dad and him were both riding, and so I remember hearing his name like years and years ago, but he was just such a young kid. But because I've known of him for so long, I always feel like he's older.
yes, yeah, I can see why. And he strikes. He's a very mature for his age and a mature rider, and he would have been for
Yeah.
years. And I get that. To get the same with Mitch and Ash Brightmore, they're both for their age. They're very mature and determined riders. It's good to see. You don't see that in like young lads like that much anymore.
Yeah.
It's nice to see, and that it will help them get to where they want to get to and go further.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a young rider here. He's 15 and he's a friend of mine now. His family and I are friends, and it was really cool because he caught my eye at the first race that I was at because he was just a smooth rider riding A class, and I was just like, who is that guy who's wearing a super bright like high vis gear? And I was like, he stands out obviously. But then the way he was riding, but he's a young kid. He's 15. So he got off the bike and I was like, "Whoa." I was like, "What?" But, he's from Hawaii and he flies to the mainland to race on the mainland, and his family helped him, and like he works hard to like make this happen. He pays for the parts on his bike at 15. Like you said, how many young kids are there that do that anymore? And there's a few of them in Hard Enduro here. And it's just so cool to see how many people support these kids. And that's the future. They're gonna be like the next Manny or whatever. But it's really awesome to see how mature and how strong these kids are. And it's just like I said, I take something away from every story, and for them that's just that kind of dedication at such a young age is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And then I'm like, I'm definitely not 15, so I was like, I don't have any excuse to not be that dedicated. Like
That's the worst part. I just wish I started the sport sooner. I wish I got into it at a younger age. Maybe not race quads and picked up an enduro bike quicker. But I'm 29. I'm still giving it a go. I think I've got another few years left in me yet. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what next year brings, and yeah, just I'm just gonna keep having fun. Loving it, loving the process. So it just gets expensive this year. I think, yeah, got in a bit of debt.
Yeah.
Spent my life savings, and thought, if I'm gonna pursue a dream, I want to ride bikes for a living, or try and make money riding bikes and live the dream. And
Yeah.
I'm not one to sit back and moan about life. If I want to do something, I'm going to give it 100%, and that's what I've done this year. Spent all my savings and got in a bit of debt, but I'm hoping it'll all pay off and be worth it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've had these amazing experiences so far. And,
Yeah.
you know, like you said, this is just your first year. So, and with as good of a rider as you are, I definitely see this paying off for you. You know, you have the right mindset, you're dedicated. This is super cool to get to talk to you when you're like on your ground level. Like, this is awesome.
Thank you very much.
Like,
Yeah, no.
I always feel that same way though, because I'm 34, and you know, I'm just getting to the point where I'm comfortable on a bike and I want to start racing hard enduro. And I'm like, I'm way old to be starting. So,
Never too old. Never too
I'm
old.
not too old, but I'm getting there. So, but yeah, I just like, it's there's not really an age limit. Like,
No.
it's harder maybe, but it's definitely something that everyone can do. I mean, there's older people racing hard enduro here in the States. I think the oldest person that I met that was racing was 68. So
No.
yeah.
Incredible.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like at my level of riding, I can't make any excuses with the age. I think Jarvis has got rid of that stigma, the whole age thing. I think he's just, yeah, he's took it to new levels. So yeah, no excuses
Yeah.
for me. Or
Yeah,
anyone.
I mean, he pushes hard.
Oh,
He works
incredible.
really hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
for sure.
definitely committed. Yeah, amazing.
um Well, is there anywhere in the world that you would want to ride that you haven't gotten to ride yet? Like, if you had all expenses paid, where would you want to go ride?
I think I'd like to do some races in maybe Asia. Definitely, I'd like to do more in America. Personally,
Yeah.
just because how friendly the people are, and just how cool the events are. Like Canada, America, like just some of the terrain is just
Yeah.
incredible. And yeah, I just want to. If I had the option, I'd do every race possible, all the full hard enduro. So, but no, definitely, I'd definitely like to do Asia, and I'd like to come across to the States or Canada next year maybe, and
Yeah.
try and do some more.
That
But
would be really cool.
yeah,
Oh,
that would be the dream. But at the minute, I just keep working, and yeah,
Mhm.
just see what happens.
I have a feeling it's all gonna work out for you. You've
Thank
got
you.
you've got you've got the skills, you know, you've got the drive, you've got this awesome personality that, just like you said, it stands out. You know,
Thank you very
when I
much.
saw you, every single time I saw you, you were smiling and you were positive, and it was just fun. It was fun to be around you. You have a really good energy. So I
Thank you
think
so
that
much.
that's really important, and I think people are going to gravitate towards that. So I think you're going to find a lot of success in this.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've just always tried to be a positive person and very welcoming. Anyone, I'd always speak and give advice and help where I can. And as for the drive, because I've put so much into it and I'm a bit older, I feel the more you put in, and yeah, you have, I feel like you've got more to prove, you've got more to work for, you're hungrier. I feel
Yeah.
like some riders that have been given the experience or had the opportunity given to them or paid for. I don't think
Mhm.
that you'd be as hungry or want it quite as much. I think it was
Yeah.
Mike Tyson or someone said he wouldn't ever. He said his children would never be the world's best because they had the best trainers the best of the best. Everything was paid for, but because they didn't work from nothing to get there, they wouldn't have the hunger like he did. So
Yeah.
I think there's something to take away with the hungrier you are for it, and the more you put in, the more you want it. So I definitely want it, and I'll be going into next year just as hard. And hopefully,
Good.
each round I've done, I've just slowly knocked off a few places and got a better result. So hopefully, I can just keep coming
Good.
down and try and break into that top 10 would be an incredible achievement. But we
I
will
think you
see.
could do it for
Thank you.
sure.
Yeah.
And when you're traveling over there on your guys' side of the pond, do you travel alone? Do you travel with family? Does your girlfriend come with you?
So this year it's mainly done it with the main sponsor, Black Flag. It was we sort of went
Yeah.
across together in the
Mhm.
like a camper van.
Mhm.
It got to the stage because a lot of the races are in Europe. We're sort of in one area. It actually worked out cheaper for me to buy a second bike. So I had a UK bike to practice on and do the British, and then
Mhm.
I would leave a bike out in Austria after Erzberg, and then I'd fly home. It just meant I had to get
Mhm.
double the amount of kit, an extra helmet, an extra set of boots, more expense, more savings spent, more credit cards. But no, it was so worth it. So we flew back from Austria because we left the van there, then flew back, drove all the way to Serbia, and done the same. And it's just it worked out great, really. Then traveling, going across like Europe, there's some countries like Bosnia and places we never thought of going. And the sat nav was trying to take us around. I was like, it's an extra country. I'm all for traveling and ticking more countries off the list. We went through Bosnia, rode a motocross track in Bosnia, and just then we went raced Romania and thought we'd go back through Bulgaria, then Montenegro, and up the Croatian coast. And so it's just the whole experience of this year has just been incredible. And luckily enough, being my own boss as well, I can sort of with work I've managed to move work around how I get between races and in between
Yeah,
races and stuff. So it's been such an enjoyable experience.
that's
But
great.
yeah,
A lot of people don't have that kind of flexibility, so that's amazing.
no, it's made a big difference. I used to when I did work for a company, I had a problem because I did start doing some stunt shows. So I used to jump quads over tractors and cars and do shows and travel around the UK doing that a little bit for a year. And then as well as
Yeah.
trials displays. And it got to the stage it was awkward getting time off work and hassle. And in the end I got convinced just to quit my job and start up on my own and live the dream, and it's sort of paid off and give me the flexibility to have the life I've got now, which is
That's
incredible.
great. Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I'm really hoping to get overseas next year to see at least one of the races in person.
Which one
So
are you
if you
thinking
could
of coming to?
recommend, that's what I was going
Oh.
to ask. If you could recommend one for me, which one would you recommend?
Erzberg, I got told, was a wild place,
Mhm.
and you would never experience anything like it. And that did not disappoint. The Germans and the Austrians are just crazy. That's I think could be one of my favorite races.
Yeah,
I'm gunning and I'm hungry to finish it next year. That is my goal for next year. I'm going to finish Erzberg. So,
that's
but
awesome.
that
That's quite a
is
feat.
yes. So, that's what I'm going for. Yeah, next year. But I would say, out of all the races, just the atmosphere, everything that's going on, it's one of them you should definitely experience it. Just for
Okay.
as chaotic and as wild as it is, it's such an awesome experience and an awesome event.
Yeah. I have a friend who was over there a couple years ago, and she said it was just like the best energy. She's like, if you
Yeah,
don't get to go to any other race ever again, she's like, make sure you just get to Erzberg. She's
yeah,
like, it's a must. So
100%.
I think for me, I would like to get to more than one, but obviously travel is expensive. And I do I've been following the US circuit here. So I have to kind of split my time between that and then going overseas. Um,
Yeah.
but I would really like to do Erzberg, and then Sea to Sky next year would be really awesome to get to, just because I absolutely love that one. Watching it on, YouTube essentially. And so I feel like going to see it in person would be absolutely incredible. So hopefully
Yeah.
that's my plan.
Awesome.
The
Yeah,
plan.
I've heard Sea to Skies a bit like a holiday as well as a race.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I'm sort of excited for that one because after the last few rounds they're pretty intense. It would be nice to be slightly more relaxed. But yeah, no, yeah, so it'll be
Slightly
good.
more relaxed. We'll see if you feel that way afterwards. You'll have to
Yeah,
let
I
me
don't
know
think
if you
it'll
feel
feel
like
like
that. They
But
do say it's the most enjoyable, but I think it's because of like the atmosphere and everything. I don't know if
yeah,
it's
could
because
be.
the race is.
Yeah, true. Maybe that sounds like it could be the case. Yeah,
It'll be fun though. It'll be really fun. I'm
yeah, I
super
don't.
stoked to watch you and see how you do and how you like it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. The format, I love the format because they've got the beach race on day one, then the forest race, and then the
Yeah.
mountain race. I thought
Yeah.
that's a really cool format and a really cool way of doing it. So no, I'm
Yeah.
excited.
That'll be super cool. Oh, I'm so excited. It's gonna
Yeah,
be that's the weekend before my run. So that's
is
like my
it?
relax weekend. Like I've gotta like start chilling at that time. So I'm gonna be watching. I don't know if they'll have it live this year. I think they had it live last year. So if they
Yeah,
do, I'll be watching it, even though it's like 7 hours ahead of my time. But I don't care. I always try and watch those. If they have it live, I try and watch. So
amazing.
yeah, I'm kind of crazy about hard enduro.
Yeah, I noticed. I love that though. I love the commitment. It's great. It's
It's
great.
cool. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just like I said, I've been watching it for a long time, and it's so cool, and it's just so inspiring to me. Just seeing people push through stuff, and then now knowing what it's like to do stuff on a bike, I have more appreciation for it and more appreciation for what you guys actually go through. And it's like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't even imagine going through that. Like, and then I'm like, I want to though.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's my biggest part. I enjoy like the challenge of especially being trials, riding the biggest obstacle, going up the biggest bank, riding the biggest rock. I do get great enjoyment of yeah, hit like riding some big stuff. I enjoy
Yeah.
riding the big stuff than the long slogs and the hardness of it. But
Yeah.
that's where I feel a lot of the racing. I like in the technical areas. I'm as good as some of the top riders, but then it's the faster sections that slows me down and isn't helping. So
Mhm.
this year I'm trying to
Yeah.
push to get more of the speed to be more competitive at that side. But at the same time, I love making funny videos or cool videos of riding some gnarly stuff or hitting some big stuff. So I think
Yeah.
this evening I'm actually taking this bike. I'm on the way to a skate park to ride indoors on the enduro
Oh,
bike. So hopefully there'll be a cool little video coming out of that tomorrow. So
that'd be awesome.
yeah, I'll have to see. But
Yeah.
that's my goal. I
Cool.
know I'm never going to be like top world rider or top five rider in the world, but if I enjoy the whole social media side of it and inspiring people, and it's great when you get kids come up and they're showing me videos of them doing a wheelie or asking for a photo, like, can you look at my endo, look at me do a stoppie, and it's just cool and inspiring. You can see like you're inspiring them and they're enjoying it. It's nice to do that. I really get a buzz off making people happy and just doing cool content and approaching the whole racing side of things slightly differently to most rather than the results. The results I love. If I can get good results, I will, and I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of the social media approach is prefer to be an Insta rider rather than a world rider. I say.
Well, I think it's working because you definitely made an impression on people here. I mean, there was a lot of people talking about you, like, especially because of your pink kit at TKO, and they were like, "Who is that guy? Like, where is he from?" And like, because a lot of people didn't know your name. You know, they know the Brightmores, they know Jarvis, they know, Manny. But they were like, "Who is he?" Nobody knew who you were at first, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, everybody's talking about you, and so
Oh,
it
amazing.
was kind of cool. And like I said, I had a couple people approach me, and they're like, "Hey, you should get him on your podcast.
Oh,
Like,
no
he would be
way.
really cool." So yeah, so it was really awesome. I was like, "Hey, I happened to meet him. Like, that's really cool. Yeah, I'll totally see if he wants to do it."
Oh,
So
amazing.
yeah. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
you're making an impression already. So
Thank you very much. And yeah,
yeah.
hopefully next year at some point I'll be across at the States and see you at one of the
That'd be
races,
awesome.
or I'll see you at
Yeah.
Earthstone maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, maybe we'll see each other at a couple races. You'll be here and I'll be there. That'd be
Yeah,
freaking awesome.
yeah,
That's my goal. My goal is to go to more events next year. My goal is to ride a hard enduro next year. So we'll see if that one happens.
yeah,
um, I'm still getting my confidence back after my race last weekend. So,
yeah.
um,
Just keep
but
putting time in.
uh,
Practice makes
yeah,
perfect. You got to keep putting the time in.
yep,
I feel like
yep, exactly.
trials is a big help with the discipline and putting the time in. There's been times riding the trials bike. I've rode over the same rock for 4 or 5 hours in a day. I haven't rode anywhere else,
Yeah,
just one rock until I'm happy with the
yeah,
rock. Then that's when you move on to the next obstacle or the next challenge. So,
yep.
a bit,
Yeah,
yeah,
I definitely focus on things. I section things. I didn't know about like technique until about a year ago. I did a clinic with Jarvis, and it really helped me out. But I was on the TTR, and he was making fun of me, and he's like, "You just need a better bike." And I was like, "Okay." Well, 7 months later, I ended up getting a new bike, and then it was like I said, trying to learn how to ride a big bike, being a small person, and now it's trying to figure out how to get the right body positioning, being on a bike that's so much bigger than me. Um, and so I've done a couple more clinics with Jarvis where I've been able to get feedback about like what I need to do and what I need to work on, and he's helped me modify some stuff so that way I can, feel more comfortable.
yeah.
But I really do think I'm gonna have to lower the bike.
Yeah, I think
But
it's definitely a good option, and it will help. They've done it for a reason. It definitely will pay off. I think the whole height
yeah,
thing. Obviously, I'm 6'1", so I'm very lucky, and I got long legs.
yeah,
But I was always blown away with Bert's Creston.
mhm,
Being a UK rider, we ride together a bit in the Brightmoors and stuff, and when we all go out, I've seen him fall off a big bank, and I'm like, oh no, he cut his legs aren't long enough, and the way he moves
yeah,
around on the way he moves around on the bike, and yeah, has to overcompensate. It's incredible, and yeah,
yeah.
after seeing sort of him get over it like that, it's made me realise, yeah, it's it can't hold you back. You just got to modify and work ways around it. But
Yeah, yeah. And it takes a lot of extra time. It's funny because I posted a video on Instagram and I was practicing going over logs, and people are like, "You need to stand up." And I'm like, "I am
I'm
standing up."
just, yeah,
I'm standing, but because of the angle of the video, I'm only like this far off the
yeah,
seat, and so you can't really tell. And so I was like, hmm, cool. But I mean, I'm working on it, but I like to session stuff. Like when I'm working on something, like in Maine, I had this really terrible fear of rocky downhills. And that's exactly what I found when I first moved there. And I was like, all right, it scares the crap out of me, but I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to keep doing it till it doesn't scare me anymore. And now I don't have so much of a fear of that, depending on how big it is. There was a
yeah,
couple that I ran into uh at a at one of the mountains here, but that was like hills versus mountains was a little bit different.
yeah.
Like so I was like, when it keeps going and going and going, that still kind of gets me. But it's all about like seat time and exposure. And so I'm really working on it. But I mean, like I said, it's only been a couple years, and I've only been on this bike since March. So, you know,
Yes.
I'm pretty new still.
Yeah. No, no, it'll come. You'll get the hang of it.
Yeah, yeah. But then I'm, like I said, I'm kind of crazy because I'm like, okay, which hard enduro do I want to do next year? And like, do I want to go straight for it in the beginning of the year, or do I want to like work on my skills and go a little bit later? I kind of want
Yeah.
to do like one of the East Coast rounds, even though there's a little bit sketchy sometimes because it gets like really slick with all the rain and stuff that tends to happen. So I don't know.
I'll see you.
Well,
I'll see you in Romania then. You'll be doing Romaniacs in no time.
I don't know about that. Maybe, but
I've
I I
I've
I
I've got
push
a
hard, but I don't know if I push that hard.
yeah. I've got a feeling next year. I don't know what's happening bike wise or riding wise, but I think I'd quite like the challenge. I like what Paul Tarris has done. His route with the 700 Tenere in the silver class. I know there are a few other bike brands out there that have similar bikes. It'd be
Yeah,
quite cool. I think I would really enjoy the challenge of finishing silver class on a bike that's slightly different, a 700 of some sort, or yeah,
that's
slightly
a
bigger
big
bike.
bike. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd enjoy sort of that challenge. We'll
Heck
have to
yeah.
see.
That's amazing. Wow. That'd be really cool. Well, no matter what you end up doing, it's going to be awesome to see. I think you're going to succeed no matter what you end up doing. So it's really
Awesome.
cool, like I said, to see you just kind of breaking out into this and to get to talk to you. And like I said, you're a super great guy. Like you're super personable. So it's going to be really cool to see how far you go with this.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, in our last couple minutes, do you have any big shout outs that you want to give?
Um, just to my sponsors for this year, just everyone who supported me, and yeah, it's been cheering me on. Thank you so much, and yeah, look forward to finishing the last few rounds, and yeah, hopefully I'll be there next year battling and getting some better results, and yeah, going up the ranks. We'll have to see.
Awesome. Good. Good to hear. Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for your time. And we will talk to you later.
Thank you, and good luck with your run and your race. And
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, definitely.